Is your watch collection ready to add a funky chicken to the watch? Something that's exciting, maybe something that will get enthusiasts fired up or start a conversation with them? Well, the owner Ivan from Vario contacted me recently to send me a watch. Now it's the Navi single hand, Naviivan. Interesting. And I of course said yes, because that's something that I love to do. I enjoy making content on a Sunday, very relaxed and laid back. And it doesn't really matter the seconds and the minutes, right? It's not something that I have to track down as far as it goes when I'm doing something I enjoy. And this is the watch exactly for that kind of scenario. It's a conversational starter. It's something that enthusiasts will be fired up for. And it has a lot of features in it that enthusiasts rather appreciate as far as the evolution goes for watches. So without further ado, guys, let's take a look at the watch and see if it is in fact for your collection. So let's kick things off with unpacking the watch and get our first impressions of it before we do a deep dive of this Vario Navi single hand deep water blue small seconds compass. And just to let you guys know, I'm paraphrasing here, you're met with a text when you go to the website to make sure you understand that the watch is meant to be read as an approximate time with a minimalistic laid back direction, live in the moment and not sweat the small stuff. The watch minute times are meant to serve in 15-minute increments, which gives a purpose of a calming function without showing the exact time. So they're warning you that this is not for an exact time off the bat. It has a case diameter of 38 millimeters, a case thickness of 11 millimeters, a crystal domed sapphire crystal with inner AR applied coating, a lug width of 20 millimeters, a lug to lug of 46 millimeters, a case material of 316L stainless steel that is coated for scratch resistant. The movement is the Miyota 82S5, which is 21,600 beats per minute, and it has more than a 40-hour power reserve, hacking, hand winding. The watch has a water resistance of 10 ATM, which is 100 meters, and it comes with a 2-year global warranty and is offered in 5 different colorways to choose from. Vario is also offering free worldwide express shipping, but customers are responsible for duties and taxes to be paid, and it is made in Japan, inspected in Singapore, and the quality and satisfaction is guaranteed by the company. Let's kick things off with the case back. It's well finished, solid case back with a compass engraving, half polished, half brushed to create a depth and a contrast to it. There are a ton of text engraved in the case back as well, including made in Japan, designed in Singapore, 10 ATM, which means of course again 100 meters water resistance, automatic and sapphire. And I have to say that I rather love the fact that they decided to include all of that text on the case back instead of the dial, which we'll get into rather soon. Moving right along to the crown, it's in the shape of a sailor hat and has cutout grooves for extra grip and design. Push-pull system, and it only has the one position to set the hour hand, which I'm pretty happy that they decided to not have a ghost date. I know for a lot of enthusiasts that's pretty important. It is engraved with the Vario V, and it isn't a screw-down crown, so if you're a detail nut, you can always wind the crown so that the V-shaped symbol for the company is facing up. The crystal is domed sapphire, as mentioned before, with an inner AR applied coating that I found highly effective when I had the watch out in the sun. The bezel is fixed, coin-edged, polished, and well balanced in between each groove and has a lovely finish, might I add. The case is brushed on the sides and on the top of the twisted lugs with a nice polish on the inner thighs of the lugs to add more dimension and details. The dial is where the watch really starts to flex its muscles. It begins with an informal chapter ring that is a talking point and a focus before presenting its handsome center dial. There are 12 divided sections that represent an engine order telegraph, or EOT for short, that foreshadows the watch's nautical theme. It has an Arabic printed text representing each hour and is nicely balanced for the shorter spellings within it. Paying close attention, we see that the hour begins on the left long divided line, leading into the small washed color blue railroad looking like track that indicates 15-minute intervals for a general concept of the time instead of being an exact reading to which the theme of the watch is unveiled if you somehow missed the minute hand not making an appearance. And just to give you guys a visual confirmation, for example, this would be at 12 o'clock, which is at the center of the dial by the longer dividing line, and this would be 15 minutes past 12 o'clock. The center dial has a fantastic wave pattern with only the text being printed at the 12, which is undisturbed by the wave pattern directly underneath it. We get a sub dial for the second hand that can be found hovering over the start of the 4 o'clock to the end of the 5 o'clock section. The outer design reminds me of a life preserver ring with a second hand that is an obvious representation of a compass hand and has a sub design pattern that reminds me more of a traditional splash wave rather than the horizontal lines found in the main dial. The hour hand gives me a magnifying glass type of vibe with a pointer at the end of it. It also has an aperture in the shape of a circle and is lumeless. And while we're on the subject of lume, there just isn't any, so end scene. Here is the movement on a time grapher to check and see how this particular unit is performing after its travel from Singapore. The watch is weighing in at 62 grams for just the watch and 72 grams with the strap that was provided. Speaking of the strap, very supple, well made. Vintage style German leather, 20 millimeters at the top and 16 millimeters for the taper, quick release function included. And we expect to see a nice strap from Vario since they have a full section providing straps separately as a company. Before we get into the improvements and strengths, let's take a quick look of a wrist shot of the watch on my wrist. Now I have a 7¼ inch circumference wrist and I have a 46 millimeter wrist width from bone to bone on top for reference. And I think it fits mighty good on wrist, or on my wrist at least. Some improvements to the watch, and the first two are really just acknowledgements more than they are improvements. Now, there is no lume on the watch, and I know a lot of enthusiasts rather like to have lume somewhere within the watch, and being that the watch is not going to be dead accurate, it probably was intended to not have any lume, but I still think it would be really cool if you had lume throughout the entire hour hand, so this way if you wake up in the middle of the night, you at least would know what hour you're sitting upon. So if it's 2 in the morning, you can catch some more Z's. The rotor, you can hear it. It is audible. I wouldn't classify it necessarily as being loud. I would say that it is noticeable in more of a quiet setting. You sometimes can feel that rotor spinning when you jerk your arm. Not really a big issue. And again, it's not loud, but you definitely can hear it when it's spinning, and you might be familiar with it on this movement in particular, so it might be already expected. One improvement that I will stand by, however, is the fact that your only options are leather straps. And I just got done saying that the straps are phenomenal, and they really are supple and well made. However, if you're using the watch and because it's more of a nautical theme, maybe you're just using it to take a dip in the pool, or maybe you're taking it just to, I don't know, sail your boat, whatever the case may be, I would like to see some options as far as a rubber strap goes, or something that is a lot easier to get wet and maintain as far as that manner is respected. And so that is something that I would say that Vario can offer when checking out with the watch, just as a second option to spice things up. Let's talk about some strengths. It feels like, and dare I say, it's a piece of art for your wrist. It definitely is a conversational starter, from the total design being well detailed, and I love the curvature of the lugs. Speaking of the lugs, they are drilled, making haste for that strap change if you do need it. Again, the leather strap does come with a quick release, but maybe the strap that you're swapping it out for doesn't have one, so it continues that quick release, or at least that fast function to swap out straps, which is really nice. I know a lot of enthusiasts really do appreciate having drilled lugs, so good job for adding that in. Once again, that 316L stainless steel is coated, which is going to give you an additional scratch resistance to it, which I think is awesome, and it's a nice addition to keep things fresh for your watch if you're worried about having war battle scars on it. We can actually turn the lack of dead accuracy into a positive thing. Think of it this way. I mean, if you always show up 15 minutes early because you know you can't get it down to the exact minute to a meeting, you might just get that promotion that you were always looking for. Limited edition for all of the different colorways that you can choose from on this, and you can expect to pay $428 at least of making of this content. That is the going price of it. Ivan, if you're listening, well done, my friend. You've truly created a well-made watch, and it's tons of fun and exudes passion with creativity. And it's a good thing that this watch is 100 meters of water resistance, because the tears will be flowing as I pack this back up to be sent back out. And of course, we're gonna end things off with our mantra. It all started with a watch. No matter where you are in your watch collecting journey, no matter how you decide to collect moving forward, you guys are all welcome on this channel and in this community, as you should be. I appreciate you guys checking out the review. If you have a little bit more time, check out some of the other reviews that I've done on this channel. I appreciate everybody's support, and I'll see you in the next one. Is your watch collection ready? I already retake that. Started with a watch. And of course, we're gonna end things off, guys. Maybe you're covered on all bases as far as adding divers and adding, you know, maybe Naviivan. Interesting. And he asked me if I wanted to do a review on the Navi. Now, Ivan Naiv. Yeah, I spelled that right.